You can pop this picture up, as I'll have Sean send it to you. Sean wakes up from his coma, and he can't talk, doesn't have any idea what happened, and they give him a fucking a dry erase board, and they're like, "Can you write something? You draw something?" And this motherfucker drew a dick. I am not shitting you. The first thing Sean did was draw a dick, and then I've never told you that I knew about this, but something happened with my mom, and you.
I was told about this one.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of
the Tattoo Guardians Podcast.
Hell yeah, and tonight's an extra special treat for Hip and I and all of ya. We're so fucking blessed, but tonight's extra awesome from more reasons than one. What's one of them, Hip?
Well, one of them is we've got Joshua Carlton here with us live and in person.
In the motherfucking house. First time he's ever sat at this table with us in person. Josh flew across country to be with us tonight. And what's the other reason?
The other reason is because he brought his buddy, Sean King, a.k.a.
Oh, I forget. What is it?
Stint Eastwood.
Oh, that Eastwood stint. That's right. Okay. Folks, we cover so much tonight. These brothers poured their heart out to us. And, you know, some points it gets heavy because both these men died, literally. You'll hear about it.
Yeah.
And they both have beaten death in their life after death. All the good that comes with it, learning what really fucking matters and what don't, and even survivor's guilt, all of it, we cover it. So parts of it gets deep and heavy, but then it gets real light because we have fun, wreck as well, don't we?
Yep, and then it gets deep again, and then we talk some bullshit again. But as usual, like how we like to end our shows, always in the solution-based spirituality and growth.
Thank you to all you faithful listeners and viewers every week. This week for sure is a treat. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hip here with another edition of the Tattoo Guardians Podcast. And today we've got a super special treat because all three of us, me, Mr. Joshua Carlton, and Matt Clemmer, are all in one room in the flesh. And we are blessed and accompanied by the great and powerful, shout out to Joe Rogan, Sean King.
It's weird. It's so weird to be here. I've only seen it like through Zoom.
No kid.
It's like I walked down and I was like, wow. It was like people that think that they were like on the Titanic. You know what I mean? These people, they say that they like in their past lives lived on the Titanic. I was like, oh wow, it's the Titanic.
Yeah. So good. We're fucking lucky. Mr. Carlton flew all the way across the country to be here with us today, which is fucking awesome. Our first, like you said, our first one together in the flesh. We've had an amazing day already. You want to tell them what other cool shit has happened today?
Yeah, so we ate at Club Oceano.
Amazing.
Let's see, my wife got me some coffee for Father's Day.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I got some roses.
Yeah.
I got roses first time.
The apprentices had the shop cleaned, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it was a good day.
No, I got tattooed today by Joshua. And just so happens that like tomorrow's Father's Day, and he blessed me with a portrait of my stepfather, which I've taken for granted my entire life. You know, so many, I like drugs, but I always looked for a father in life, and anytime an older man would show me affection or interest, I would cling to that. And the whole time growing up, I didn't realize that like my stepfather was doing that for me until later in life. And I finally got a chance to honor him. And like it was just coincidental that tomorrow's Father's Day and he tattooed me today. Hell, it was coincidental up until maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago that I knew what I was getting, because it's Joshua Carlton. If you get tattooed by him, like who gives a fuck what he does? It's gonna be fucking baller. Right. And then he just reached out and he was like, man, are you sure? Like, is there anything? And I mean, I don't know, it just jumped in my mind, and I was like, well, we could do this. And then I got to take some pictures of my stepfather, and he just turned it into some magic. And it's been an amazing time.
It was an honor to do. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
It's a
I really
beautiful
had fun.
tattoo.
I had fun with it. Even though I've been tattooing for 30 years, it's like I was telling Sean, like about 3 hours in, I was like, okay, I think I can stop holding my breath at this point, you know. So it's just, I knew how important it was, you know.
Yeah. It turned out great, you know. Due to the location, you didn't get to watch a whole lot because just above your Achilles tendon. Sean and I had the honor of sitting with Josh and watching him all day. Again, this man's been tattooing 30 years, and just to watch his process, that he is a perfectionist, and his passion level is inspiring, you know.
Thank you.
And I've been tattooing 16 years and learned at least 5 new things today just
Awesome.
from watching you,
Awesome.
you know.
5 things not to do.
Yeah, I was about to say the
4 things
application.
not-
Yeah, right.
5 things to do.
Applying it's a whole nother,
Yes.
you know, ball game. But it was fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Maybe we can put up for our viewers the tattoo we're talking
Mike
about.
took some way better pictures than I got, so if you want to post that up, that'd be awesome for our viewers.
So cool. Happy day. Josh, thanks for coming here and
Yeah,
being
I'm
here with
so
us.
excited to be here. This is fantastic.
Jeez, and you brought a friend.
I did. I brought my best friend, best friend in the whole world.
Special friend.
Yeah. My special friend.
Past friend.
This is one of the few people I take a bullet for. Not like in the face or anything. But, you know,
Small caliber.
a ricochet.
small, yeah, ricochet, yeah.
Pellet.
But yeah, no, this is my great friend Sean King. He was my apprentice for a long time. He actually asked me, I don't know how many times to apprentice, and I told him no, over and over and over. And he did every trick in the book. I think you tied some artwork to a balloon and floated it up to my window.
I did. I annoyed you into
Yeah.
taking me on.
It's like, I'm like, all right already. And this was at a time that was interesting because I was traveling like a ridiculous amount. And Sean reminded me today that he's been on 45 flights with me.
That was just in 2010.
Yeah.
I didn't keep my boarding
45
passes.
flights in 1 year.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I took
boarding passes.
yeah. I took Sean around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's aw- and you know
Absolute
something
blast.
cool that I noticed today, and I got pictures of, and I even said something about it. Like, how long have you been tattooing?
I'm right about 12 years. I think on July 1st will be 12 years from the day I started. Like,
So you know, almost twice as long as I have, and he sat by Josh the entire day and would ask questions and receive answers, which I love that shit, man, because you can, you know, in my mind, to be a master at something or a good teacher at something, you always have to remain teachable and have the mind of an apprentice, like no matter where you get, at least in my experience, because the people that do will plateau and become arrogant or sour and kind of die off. So I really appreciate that. And it spoke a lot too, Matt, when you got, I was watching you ask questions and like stand there and watch, and you'd even pull me to the side and said like, you really want to be like hanging over his shoulder, but like when you step in, you're in the way of Sean watching. Because I never get to see Matt like,
everyone.
watch, you know, or ask questions. I've never witnessed that before, except with me. You know, where he's like, "Man, how do you fucking make it so fucking good like that?" And I'm like, "Bro, I just make it do what it do."
I'm so tired of hearing that.
That's right. Finally, I asked someone else. Now they're awesome.
That's one thing I've always loved about Joshua is, I mean, there's been years he's taken so much flack for it, and he's always shared everything that he knows, everything that he does with anyone that is willing to take the time to learn and absorb it. It's always been like that. I've seen tattooers get angry about it, and there's never a secret with Joshua. He will show you literally everything he does.
Yeah,
Doing it is a little harder than
Sure.
it looks, but there is no secrets.
Yeah, it's definitely not been a favorite with a lot of tattooers. I don't know if they think I have ill intentions or what, but I get so excited when I learn a new technique. I want to share it with somebody, you know. And I'll tell my wife too. I'll be like, man, this helps me out. I'm not going to share this, and she's like, the fuck you're not. Like, she knows me. She's like, you're going to share it tomorrow. You know what I mean? I know you will. You know. And,
anyone that might mistake that for arrogance or something like that is just mistaken. I've spent so much time with Joshua and just losing sleep over tattoos. I mean, stressing more than me over certain tattoo. You know, it's learning almost to the point of insanity. Just
Sure.
An absolute grind to learn. It's I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and he's stressing over a tattoo that everyone else already says is awesome.
Oh yeah,
Probably,
yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. It's
definitely a curse. It's not something I think I would change, because I do believe it's made me, you know, a better artist overall.
I was going to say, would you be at that level if you didn't have that drive?
It can be maddening. So Matt and I've talked about this a lot. He was surprised. You know, he just assumed I just went to bed at night and woke up and did cool tattoos. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think a lot of artists out there that are listening can probably feel this way. In fact, if you do, comment below in the video. I'd love to hear your story as well, you know. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and for most of us, like even Hip, like when we got to know Josh and learned that he is human. I know you always appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
He loves it when anyone he's got on a pedestal, like if we fuck up or are flawed or even having a rough day, like he gets excited if he sees me like upset about something. He's like, fuck yeah.
He's human.
That's right.
And you know, it's funny that like we're even touching on this because you know, just the sensitivity that like we all operate at. Some are more radiate a little more higher than others, but so there's been some shit going on like since last night that's just been eating my lunch, and basically I've been allowing it to rob me of like the whole experience today, to the point to my wife seen it at the beginning and knew that like I'm trying to push it off. And right before we came down here for the podcast, Josh had pulled me aside to speak to me quietly, and it was showing so bad that he could feel it and picked up on it and thought that maybe I was unhappy with my tattoo.
Yeah.
And in turn, that just made me realize that like I'm showing it, and I don't know, it's a weird thing. He felt bad because he was making it all about his tattoo, but at the same time, I felt bad because I was robbing him and the gift of like being able to celebrate fully, and I'm robbing myself from being able to celebrate fully in the moment. So like, and I'm still trying to shrug it off now. And you know, before we came down here, I asked Josh, like, is it cool if we share this? Because one thing that I admire about this, and that I want to keep the integrity of this show, is like the transparency in it. And if we're going through shit, even in the moment of doing the podcast, to like share it, because you know, if there's somebody out there that has me on a pedestal and thinks that like I fucking wake up and just shit greatness, if that's even possible, which it isn't, that no, totally not. And like right now, I'm just still like fighting this selfish battle of like shiny shit that I've acquired since I've been here, and it has totally fucking robbed me of today, to the point to where it spills out onto other people. So I appreciate like, you know, him pulling me aside and asking me that, and just that organic, confusing, growing moment that we had, and then being able to share it like publicly in front of the entire world.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
This is why Hip's a douchebag, everyone. I'm just kidding.
Can you pass me a tampon?
I don't know, to our listeners, what would you do if Josh Carlton flew all the way across the country to tattoo you today? Would you be bummed on a dent in your car?
Damn.
It's more than a dent.
He's upset over.
It was like a dozen.
He's upset over shit.
I got my fucking brand new white Nikes fucking scuffed, dude. Josh, fly home.
Right.
No, but yeah, us as human beings, us as men, to be able to have authentic conversations together at any given moment, one, to have the maturity to do that, and the safety to pull a brother aside and be like, yo, something seems off. Is it me? Is it you? Is it we? That keeps possibility open for us to move forward, versus everyone being in their head, running rackets, building stories and resentments. And we've grown a lot in that area to where, like Josh did with you 10 minutes ago, we can pull one another aside and be like, dude, what's up?
That can turn to poison quickly when not communicated or bottled in.
Yeah,
or,
what did
know,
you say if you wouldn't have shared that? What would
Yeah, I mean, I'm flying home in a couple of days, and I was just sitting there the whole time we were on the porch, and I was like, man, if I don't say something, I will carry this all the way home. You know what I mean? And I'll be in a bad mood, and you know, and Nick, my wife, will just be like, the tattoo's beautiful, and I'm like, I know, but you know,
It didn't act like it.
Yeah.
Didn't smile or appreciate it.
He was looking at his Nikes.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and please don't get me wrong. I need someone to jump up and down and all that, but you know, I've talked about it on the show before, and I definitely consider myself an empath, and I can literally feel stuff. And so as soon as Hip told me, I was like, man, I'm so selfish to like assume it was about me when it was about his shiny toys.
So you had a legit porch talk.
Yeah, it's funny
real?
because
Yeah.
we
I think both of you are very fortunate.
right. That's
Yeah.
Sean brings that up
I'm
because
sorry.
in our entire apprenticeship, when Sean would do something dumb or whatever, I'd be like, man, we're gonna have to have a porch talk about this, and I'd take him out on the porch, and you know, it became kind of a running joke. But yeah, we legit had a porch talk
On a fucking
on an
porch.
actual porch. Yeah.
And you know, here's the greater aspect of it. Like, I just had like an intimate one-on-one. Even no matter who, I was being self-centered with my shit, you were being self-centered with your shit, but it's like a one-on-one talk with the great, and this is in my mind how I view it, fucking Joshua Carlton on the great Matthew Clemmer's porch after getting a tattoo of a man who I neglected that continued to raise me as a child. Like, you just really can't paint a better picture than that. And if I can't latch onto that gratitude, then I should just drink bleach.
And good night, guys.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
We are fortunate.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's
Very.
singing
Oh,
along.
you ain't seen nothing.
It's really all I have done.
I like to think I'm like a pretty funny guy, right? And at home I am, and I hang out with Sean, and I'll say something funny, and it's good, and then Sean always like 2 levels up, and I'm just like, God damn it! You know what I mean? But Sean will get me laughing so hard that like I hurt myself. You know what I mean? It's like, I need you to fucking stop. I can't breathe. Yeah.
That's awesome. Who drove? Did you or did you?
I drove.
Did
I
you?
drove.
Oh, you don't know about me and driving, huh?
Oh, you know what? I forgot.
Yeah.
That's right. You don't
I
drive.
do not drive.
He only travels via helicopter. That's-
Man, yeah, he's big pimping.
Right.
He's got his own drivers everywhere.
No, I've never driven. My grandmother taught me to drive in a graveyard. She's like, you can't kill anybody there. And it's just something that I never picked up. And I signed up for driver's ed once, and then I realized they were teaming me up with like a 15-year-old kid. And was like, nah, dog. Let's walked out of there.
Wow.
But so I bought my daughter a car recently, so now she's driving. So I got a few more people now in the house to help me get around.
Awesome.
It sucks.
Does it?
It sucks. Yeah, it's like, you know, I mean, if I had to drive, if something happened, if this podcast, if the building burned down tonight and I had to drive somebody to the hospital, I could do it. I would just be like the whole time, you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Wow.
Ironically, I spend most of my life hoping that I don't ever have to drive again.
Yeah, we should. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Some of your history. Do you mind if I bring any of that up?
Oh
or-
no, that's fine.
So Sean's been through it. So Sean's been through it since I've known Sean. Sorry, it's my mom. I can't
Tell her to stop.
yeah. Simmer. It's Father's Day tomorrow, not Mother's Day. So when I met Sean, kind of like pretty early on when he was, so Sean originally worked for me as a tattoo machine builder. So I invented a certain kind of tattoo machine called the cutback shader, and it just absolutely exploded, and I needed help. So I hired, I had a client that had a boyfriend that recommended him. That's how it went down.
Yep.
And I was like, if he can fabricate, I can show him some stuff. So that's how I met Sean, and he worked at Best Buy. And so he was a tattoo machine builder for me. And one day, I don't think you're on your way to work for me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
He gets hit by a garbage truck.
Well, I was on my way, this 2-lane, 55-mile-an-hour highway, and I'm in a Ford Focus, my small car. It's my girlfriend at the time's car, and then going maybe 60 miles an hour, no seatbelt. My band had just released a CD that day, and I hadn't actually heard it in the car or anything, so pop that in. I'm just flying down the road, and one of the old school garbage trucks crossed the road without stop and blew a stop sign across the road, and I hit it, no brakes, anything, at 60 miles an hour with no seatbelt.
Did you say you had a cigarette in your mouth and then you didn't? We're not sure.
Pretty
never,
sure I
never
swallowed
saw
it.
it.
Yeah,
pretty sure
I think I swallowed
so
it.
I met Sean, or I never really got to know this Sean pre-accident because he was on a lot of medications, and let's be, to be honest, it changed you.
I started getting tattooed by you.
Yeah, he did get
before
tattooed by
the
me.
machine
That's
building,
true,
and we
that's true,
kind of hit it off there.
Why are you
and
fucking
then-
my story up? This is my fucking
Yeah,
podcast.
it's just lies. But so we had gotten to know each other pretty well, and we're palling around and that sort of thing. And then after that car wreck, I was pretty messed up over it, and had a brain injury from it and all kinds of stuff. Had kind of learned to draw again, and at the time they put me on some medications, and that was
I was like, I
fun.
hate it when you're on medication.
Yeah, it's like, you're on those pills, aren't you?
It changed it, yeah.
You're not funny.
But long story short, it really changed him. And as somebody who suffers from severe anxiety, Sean experienced anxiety, and he'd even told me, he's like, man, I got to be honest. I used to hear people say they have depression or anxiety, and put on your hat and go to work, get over it. And Sean was like, this shit's real. You know what I mean? Because he had this trauma to go through it. So then, he recovers, and we travel around the world and tattoo and everything. And then about a year ago,
It was January of 2020.
I get a phone call from his girlfriend, and my wife answers the phone, and I can tell something's wrong. And I'm like, what is it? Who is it? And she says, Sean's had a heart attack. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Sean's had a heart attack. You know what I mean? It couldn't be the fact that he eats cake and smokes all day long, but But
How old are you?
I'm getting. I'll be 48 in November.
But it was crushing because this is, one of my best friends, and immediately I'm like, it's that weird feeling of like, no, he didn't. That's not true. And then but then I kind of like, well, I'm sure he's fine. And she's like, he's in a coma. He's had the most severe heart attack you can have, and 4% of people survive.
There's a 6% survival rate outside the hospital.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay.
They call it the Widowmaker.
So
It's got a nickname.
A couple days go by. So I'm in Oregon and he's in Indiana. A couple days go by. We don't hear anything at all. And I don't want to bother his girlfriend because I know everybody's calling. And finally, I'm like, look, what's going on? I need to come out there. I know I'm going to fly out. And she's like, they froze him. He's not awake. They froze him. I think he woke up at one point. You didn't wake up, but you tried to pull the tube out of your mouth, intubated or what? Yeah.
I had to be restrained. I don't remember it, but I had to be restrained.
So, it got to the point to where I was ready to go to his funeral, and that was about the time when some stuff started happening to me with my own personal situation with cancer. So I was like going through some of that, the very early stages. I didn't know I had it yet, but I had a feeling I might have it. And so I'm like, I need to fly out there, but this and that. And then COVID fucking happened as well. It was just like everything happened at once. But Sean ended up being in a coma for, was it 10 or 11 days?
I think so.
And no shit. And you can post a picture. You can pop this picture up, because I'll have Sean send it to you. Sean wakes up from his coma, and he can't talk, doesn't have any idea what happened. And they give him a fucking a dry erase board, and they're like, can you write something? You draw something. And this motherfucker drew a dick. I am not shitting you. The first thing Sean did was draw a dick. And then I've never told you that I knew about this, but something happened with my mom. And
I was told about this one later.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it went. So
I don't remember
since
this
my mom
one.
just tried to call me, why don't you tell it? But it's something along the lines of like, Josh was going to come and see you or something, and you were like, I'll fucking come see his mom.
It was something along those lines. I don't know if that was, I don't think that was exactly it.
Sean King, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But somehow he came out of this heart attack unscathed. He got his stent, and I mean, you're not okay, because clearly, there's a lot. It took a lot. I know Sean complained a lot about he had to wear this vest because he could have a sudden. It wasn't like he could have like feelings of a heart attack and like, oh, it's happening again. He would literally just be like, hey, do you guys see the new, and die. You know what I mean?
Holy
so he had to have this vest on.
Sudden cardiac death. It was,
just literally instantly. So he had this vest on. He constantly complaining to me about it, And,
I was immediately called Stint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Immediately.
But it would like an alarm would go off if he had like a higher heart
I think it
rate,
was
and it would
180
be like,
beats.
"Do not approach, back off." Like this.
There's a defibrillator built into a vest.
He
I
called
had
it
to
his
wear
bra.
24 hours
Yeah.
a day. Yeah, it felt like a bra full of Hot Wheels. If I had to describe it. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. So
You say that like you've worn a bra full of Hot Wheels.
you haven't.
I mean, they might have been Matchbox. Some of them, I don't know.
How long did you rock that?
4 months,
Wow.
24 hours a day. The only time I could take it off was when I took a bath that had to be supervised.
Wow. So you like took it off twice during that time?
Yes.
Right.
No, it was basically I was at work giving a charcoal drawing in class to a couple of people, and I have no memory of the day. This is all reported to me by other people, so it could be false, but this is what I'm told.
You ain't teaching no class. It's definitely
Lies.
Yeah.
But apparently I called the class early and said I didn't feel good. They left, and the only memory I have of that day was being outside and throwing up, like vomiting. And the only reason it even stuck out to me, it had been like 25 years since I had vomited. Like I remember the thought of, oh my God, this is happening. And blackness after that. I don't remember anything, but apparently I just jumped in my car and drove to one of those like urgent care places, walked in and was like, excuse me, dead on the floor, just dropped dead. Luckily they had defibrillators there, and I was flatlined for over 40 minutes. Like,
which I think 3 minutes is.
I
or
think
six
six
minutes
is like the only thing that even kept me remotely alive was compression and 2 sets of defibrillator paddles at the same time. I had 3rd-degree bones on the backs of my arms, and they got me to the hospital and got a stent in me pretty quick, which I ended up getting to watch the surgery on a laptop, which was weird if you ever get that chance. But when I finally came out of it or whatever, they told me what had happened, and there's a reading that your heart has the amount when it pushes out. It's called the ejection fraction. 60's normal. I was at 35, which is considered
Not normal.
not good and at risk of this cardiac death. So they wouldn't check me out of the hospital unless I got fitted for this vest. And it was 4 months of that. And I mean, it was like walking on a trap door. It felt like I was standing on a trap door 24 hours a day. I had over 100 false alarms on it within that 4-month period. It was maddening. I couldn't sleep with it. It was just terrible. But I've since made a full recovery. I've been other than a couple of medications, I'm out.
Yeah, it's amazing because I looked at the statistics of that, and it's not really supposed to happen. I mean, under for 40 minutes, frozen, 11 days coma.
Yeah, I'm very, very fortunate.
He should basically be going fire bad.
They were prepping my mom and my girlfriend
Yeah.
for even if I did make it through it, I probably wouldn't recognize them or might not be able to talk or different things like that.
So, but when you finally came to, you had no clue. Everyone had to tell you.
Repeatedly
Yeah, how crazy
because
is
of
that?
the fentanyl or whatever I was on. I just couldn't. I'm told the first 12 hours or so, I don't remember either when I was awake.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the ventilator being
Mhm.
pulled out and
Mhm.
just saying what the fuck over and over and over. And then,
Mm-hmm.
but I just kept asking,
Mhm.
what happened? And it had to be told over and over and over. But
Man.
I don't know. I when I did wake up, I saw they showed me Joshua's communications. The rest of my shop crew was there. I was surrounded by absolute people I care about and admire, and to wake up to that was, I mean.
So there were 2 people there.
One of them was a homeless
Well, one
guy.
was a puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was. So I was joking and goofing immediately as soon as I got up. I think I moonwalked at one point right after waking up. I don't.
I remember
know.
that your first post was just a picture of your walker, and it just said Walker, Texas Ranger. And I was like, Sean's awake.
Yes,
Getting
that's,
back to his normal self.
Yes.
Well, because oftentimes when we go through something either traumatic or, we have close calls or whatever, it can shake us. It can rock us. It can make us check and do inventory on the life I'm living, what really matters, what don't, right? But to have gone through something like that and have no recollection, and now you're based on the report, other than your body hemmed up and having to like wear the vest for 4 months. I was just wondering if there would be a difference in impact of what just happened to you if you have no memory of it.
It was. It's hard. Your brain tries to put this puzzle together, and you are missing pieces. So it is a little maddening in that I lost, I think, 45 pounds in the 11 days I was out or whatever. So I didn't even, when I woke up, I didn't even look the same. Like to lose 40 pounds in a week or something like that is crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't look the same. I didn't feel right. And then really there was a lot of mental baggage with it as for could this happen again or none of the doctors, the professionals they wouldn't give me any real answers. Everything was always like, well, you never know, things like that. So anytime I had a pain or, pushing 50 years old, I got pains.
Sure.
Anytime I'd have some kind of pain or something like that, I immediately would just, oh no, here it happens again. And I, from the compressions, it separated my sternum from my rib cage, which is not fun. And when I came back to work, within 2 days of coming back to work, I tried to move my chair and tore it again, which added months to my recovery time.
He was telling me last night that his girlfriend just didn't think about it. And the day he came up from the hospital, she like jumped out and scared him.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She's like, I don't know why I did that. I wish you would have had the energy to just fake another one,
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sean's been through some stuff, and like it's cool to be here because we live, we used to own a shop together in Eugene. He was actually co-owner, and he's got a daughter that he was really wanting to be in her life more. So obviously, great. We supported him to move back to Indiana. But he was my first visitor after my whole cancer, everything. Like
I couldn't get out there fast enough.
I still had a feeding tube and was getting shots every day and all that. And Sean was the first visitor I had. So it was nice because I think we both came so close to death. So we experienced that together. Yeah. So
I mean, it almost sounds like you guys didn't even come close. You actually went there and somehow were lucky enough to come back.
Yeah.
Which is always like, I don't know. I think about this with myself a lot because, I don't know what kind of baggage you guys got as far as the guilt and shame side in your lives.
Well, I got Louis Vuitton.
Well, I think it's safe to say that like we're our worst critics. So it's like oftentimes I'll ask myself like, why am I still here? Like, what is my purpose here?
Right.
And I'm hearing you talk about that, and it's like you basically both of you guys have done the impossible, and are like sitting here. We've laughed all day. Like all I've known from you, Sean, since the day I met you is you're a sweetheart. 4 gentlemen at the Evergreen Tattoo Convention got a tattoo solely dedicated to you. That I got
that
to
was
do,
awesome, by the way.
and it was awesome.
Teared me up.
Josh talks so highly of you, and you are, dude. You're just great. And it's like, I've got my experiences, but like just what you guys talk about sounds like some superhero shit. And I'm just curious if like you ever think like, why am I should not be here. I'm completely on borrowed time right now. How did this happen? What's my purpose? Or with me, when I start running down that, I instantly like, I'm just grateful that I am here. And it's like to enjoy this moment right now in this present moment and try to stay in it the best I can, because there's someone out there that's way less of a scumbag than I am that just lost their life or didn't get to enjoy anything that I've got to do.
I think for me, it's definitely a little bit of both because I experienced that for sure. I have survivor's guilt. Absolutely. Part of, my whole cancer journey, I started befriending people that had cancer as well, including tattoo artists, and lots of them have died. I've lost I think 10 or 11 people in the last 6 months. You know what I mean? So I have the survivor's guilt of like, why me? Why am I here? Why am I here today on this podcast? Why am I getting to enjoy you guys? You know, but I also do wake up every day. I woke up this morning and I just kind of look at the light outside, that the same light that annoyed me last night, you know. And I kind of make sure my limbs work, and I'm just thankful for the day. And I say, well, I think I have the day. I feel like I could survive today. You know what I mean? So it really did change me. As we talked about in the past, I've always been a super positive person. I've always been a giver, but it's like moment to moment for me. You know what I mean? And I know Sean's talked a lot about it, and I hope we're not getting too personal, but just having some anxiety and navigating this new way of life. You know, so yeah, like even today driving here, like one of Sean's triggers unfortunately is driving, and so I felt super guilty that I'm like, hey man, you want to drive real far? You know, but
what a fucking dick.
I know, I told you, but my heart.
It went, it went.
Your girlfriend jumps out of the back seat.
Gotcha. I'm like, bitch, grab your bra and let's fucking go. I got on a plane to be
time
here.
you take your balls out of your purse and step up the flavor.
But yeah, like hearing you keep that vest on, like you're telling me that story in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I'd rather just be dead, because like, what a great way to die. Like you just like, hello, boom, you're dead.
He wakes up, draws the dick, then dies.
But then
I'm
you
out.
wake up, they strap you to this thing, and they're like, if it goes off, you got a good chance of fucking dying, and it's going to be painful, and you're going to feel it. And then you said you had 100 fucking false alarms. It's like, that is torture,
Yeah, but
dude.
he was telling me that today, because I'm always like, you know, I don't want to ever get the poor me's, but I'm like, you know, and I'm waiting between scans and this and that, and I'm thinking, man, Sean literally every second of that moment was like, I could die now. What about now?
Just
you know,
fall over.
yeah, not
No
even
warning.
like with me. Mine was always like, oh, I'm gonna be told it's stage 4, and I got to serve. Sean is just like eating popcorn, just like that's it.
Yeah. I do have some baggage from it that's really more physically. It's, you know, just if I get lightheaded, like, is this it? You know, some stuff like that. So I take a medication, nothing that crazy or anything. Paxil, I believe is what it's called, and I've adjusted pretty well to that. And it's more just an anti-anxiety kind of thing, and just sometimes it's, you know, my chest hurts today. Is this, you know, more anxiety with that? But
And you've been back to the emergency room.
I had a few false alarms. Yeah,
They're like, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. But you know,
it's when I found out what anxiety attacks are.
Yeah.
You know, and how that they basically are incredibly similar.
Did any addiction issues stem from the car accident?
No.
He quit smoking for 8 months.
Yeah. Cigarettes have definitely been my big.
They're tough, dude.
Oh man,
Got
the
super-
toughest thing I've ever.
Got super healthy. Like definitely, you know, was on point about being super healthy. Got the Fitbit. I remember all that, because I've always been super crazy about having a watch and all that. And I was like, oh shit, on the Fitbit train, you know.
I was just like, am I
Do you
dying?
work
No.
out, or
Am I
can
dying?
you
No.
work out?
Yeah. I have been given an absolute complete "you're okay now." What I got to do is there's a few medications I have to take that don't really affect much, but I finally saw the surgeon that put the stent in me, and he was just like, I say do what you want. He's like, no one lives forever, but you know, you're in a good. He's like, you know, keep in mind you're pushing 50. Maybe don't go do a triathlon tomorrow.
Little do you know that telling Sean to do what he wants definitely involves hookers.
Yes.
Hookers
So
and baloney
cocaine.
windmills.
Yes.
That's her name.
Who shit in my pants?
But I think I came out the other end of it though with better, weirdly better.
Sure.
It made me reflect on how I was angry all the time, or mad all the time, or just jealous of people and that sort of thing. And it's like coming out the other side of it, it's like I realize that I just want to have fun. I want comedy. I want good times. I want good, honest connections with, even when I say like-minded human beings, I mean just like-minded in the fact that they don't want to fight, kill, but you know, it's I want people that want to learn, share, you know, have fun, you know. And it's I think it shifted what was important to me. I don't care about money. I don't care about any of that at this point. It's just I care about, you know, belonging in my own skin and feeling good there, and I don't care about large followings or groups of people. I want close, legitimate connection. I would take one good friend over 1,000 Facebook followers or what. I don't care about any of that. It's all for me. It really, really switched me to just, you know, I just want to be around my people, like you know, and that came out of it. And I've honestly been a happier person.
I've noticed it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
cool.
Getting along with people, and, you know, my shop drama right off my back.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it. I just keep pushing forward and just trying to learn, trying to get, you know, I want to be great at something before I check out again. Like before the real deal comes, I want to be great at something, and I'm not there, you know. And so
that's awesome.
That is all I am pushing for, you know. And I want to do good things, and
it's cool. You know, they say like stuff from the mouth of babes. My 12-year-old son was like, "Dad, I'm really glad Sean had a heart attack," and I'm like, "Geez, man." And he's like, because it made him super healthy. Now he's going to live a long time. You know what I mean?
Cheered me up a little bit.
Man.
Yeah, we're glad you're here, man.
There was in anybody in the tattoo community that might be watching this reached out to me. I can't even say how much I appreciated it and needed it at that time.
Yeah, I'll pay you guys later.
It was hundreds. It was hundreds of people. I even got one from Matt Jordan in New Zealand, and one of my heroes, just an absolute wonderful guy, one of my favorite artists. Just I remember catching that and just thinking, oh man, you know, and it was really sweet and touching to me. I'm bad about the hey everybody, thank you for the you know. So here it is. Anybody watching this that reached out, that was absolutely needed and super kind and sweet. I appreciate it a great deal.
Hell yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, huh?
Big time. Jeez, I didn't know.
And
that.
with all that good clean living, I don't know how it happened.
We're all fucking lucky to be sitting here in one way or the other.
We are, and that's the thing. And, you know, we talk a lot about this, and I always tell the listeners not to wait. You know what I mean? Don't wait for something like that to happen. Like, do it now, not even tomorrow. Like, you know, it sounds so like woo-woo or cheesy or whatever, but if you're listening to this podcast, you're likely like-minded like us, and I'm telling you, start living that life.
Dude, I love how you said just when you wake up and you open your eyes and you saw a little sunshine peeking through and like moved and you like with a sense of gratitude for that light, and today it's here. I woke up. I've got today. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Because we don't know.
Right.
You know, cancer, heart attack, whatever. You know, hit by a car, whatever. Like it happens every day. And so you're like, you know, likely you got today when you wake up, and take that day.
Jeez, that's huge.
Yeah, it does change your timeline a little bit. Like you know, I'd always thought, well, someday it's going to happen. But I got time. I got all the time in the world, you know, and just, you know, it can all be taken away. So it's, I believe we're all here to learn something. And I think that can cater to each one of us as individuals as to what, you know, some people it's love, some it's compassion, some it's, you know, and could be a pile of those things, you know, and that's what I'm focused on these days, searching for what are these things that I need to learn, what are the things that I need to carry on and move on with after it's all over. How am I going to be thought of, not just by people I care about, but myself? You know, what is my last thought going to, you know, is my last thought going to be, you know, is it up or down, you know, and then that's the turnaround. But I feel good. I like my attitude better. I like my interaction with other people better. I think it changed me for the better. It brought me back into contact with people that I had falling outs with, just the you know, people I cared about that I'd lost, you know, and it more good came out of it than bad. So I can't complain about the entire thing. I've absolutely got a sense of humor about all of it. So it's there's no
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
Man, so like, and it is a blessing because like my little insignificant problems, well,
because my feelings are not insignificant, but to hear this story, it's just like, man, just like you were talking about, you rekindled relationships with people for whatever reason. And then after having a life-changing experience like that, it's like, man, that shit's so fucking petty. I could be like building and loving this person, and we could be going through this together. And it took that for you to realize that it's like, you know, who gave a fuck if, like, you know, you broke my machine, or you owed me $20, or you fucking stole my client, or whatever. You got fucking your backyard's flooded, and, you know, some t-shirts are wet. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, quit focusing on like the things that are going to take you and make you switch your focus off what's really important.
Or at least recognize the difference between inconvenience and real.
Yeah, because your problems are your problems.
Life,
big or
you know,
small.
And I don't even want to. I by no means want to come off as poor Sean. I mean, there's people that's had it so much worse.
Totally,
You know, I'm lucky and fortunate about all of it.
And that's where the gratitude comes in. See, when I'm in,
because he's not a victim. Is that right?
It's that, and not only that, but there's someone out there with another horror story that completely just fucking levels yours.
No,
And-
absolutely.
You know, I'm just bringing it back to like what we were talking about earlier, and where my head's been at. And it's like I hear this, and it's like, why am I even complaining? And you know, Josh said, you know, our problems are our problems, but sometimes, you know, we need a bitch slap in the face that, like, thank God this is what you're dealing. These luxury stresses, these gold-plated problems are what you got.
Sure.
Because here's a story of someone who, like, experienced fucking death. You know,
You probably really feel like a tool bag from today now. Huh?
well, no, I'm
Sorry
so,
about your hood.
But did you die?
Hey, Mike, can we put the GoFundMe page up at the bottom? I wish. Matt Jordan, where are you, brother?
Nah,
Don't
bro,
you do
gotta
it,
get in a
Matt.
coma for that.
But no, it gives me gratitude, because it's like, see, when I get sidetracked on these little things that rob me of being in the present moment and enjoying something, I'm so grateful to hear stories like this, because it's like, see, like, it can always be worse. So, like, cherish what you got right now, because everybody, it's coming down the pipe to all of us.
Exactly.
We all got one coming. We don't know when, how, where. So, like, why not make every fucking moment count?
Yes.
And
Yes,
I
love
find
that.
too that it's as much as I would like to think I woke up and it was just zen from that point on.
Well, man.
It's a work in progress. It's
Yeah.
way easier said than done.
Especially
And,
when you didn't actually get to cognizantly experience the experience.
Yeah.
You
You will.
rely on
Yeah.
people.
Now, obviously, you had a horrific experience post wreck. And
weird things during too. That
Okay.
was a
Yeah,
that was
so
a
you
weird
know, I
one.
talk about how I had delirium. He had episodes of it similar too. So before all my stuff, he's like, man, he's like, I got to be honest with you. He's like, I died, and he's like, and I saw hell, you know, and I hadn't experienced that delirium stuff yet, so it was crazy. And I'll be honest, it was always a pet peeve of mine when people be like, I died for 2, you know what I mean? It's like, no, once you're dead, you're dead. But Sean, from the doctors, died a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, they freeze you.
Do you have recollections of some of that?
It's like, is it like flashes?
Yes. Time wasn't exactly measurable or
Sure.
I remember you know, there are certain things I remember that I know were real, that were recounted to me, that really did happen while I was under. I remember my girlfriend telling me, you know, Sean, you got to wake up. Your daughter was just here and she's coming back. And I just started bawling like crazy.
Yeah. And she had called me and said, as they said that, a tear rolled down his
I
face.
remember that in the dark, you know, just in the darkness of it. I remember hearing that, but I didn't.
He was trapped in the Superman mirror.
Yeah. Zod is that's what I spent my 11 days doing. Was, no, but that, and then you know, these visions or things I see are incredibly hard to describe. Acid trippy, like not so crystal clear, very odd, and I can't say if it was just synapses firing, if it were the drugs that I was on while I was out. I don't know. But I woke up left with these like lasting impressions of things that I don't know where they came from.
Sure.
And one of them was, the learning, the just being here to learn something. And I had a very overwhelming sensation of that when I woke up.
We're hoping it'll be tattooing.
Yeah.
It's been 12 years, and I'm like, fuck, man.
When I died, I saw my grandma. She told me my outlines were shaking.
Man, that'd be the worst. Go into the light.
Yeah.
Turn off the power supply.
Maybe use a bigger round.
Like how it's his grandma that told him his lines. Yeah. Damn.
But I wanted to be great.
Right.
Hopefully reincarnation.
Yeah.
You're supposed to learn
Try
something.
again next time. Yeah.
Damn. Well, like I said, man, for speaking for me, I'm super glad you're here.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
I appreciate
Me
you
too.
sharing your story too.
For sure.
Yeah. It's I still don't know quite what to make of it, other than I squandered a lot of my life wasting time focused on the wrong things and trying to right that, I guess.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, yeah, because one thing I'm not picking up from you is any guilt, survivor's guilt, like these boys deal with.
Yeah, I can't say I've really felt it. I did it to myself. I mean, as much as I'd like to say it wasn't my fault or, anything, I didn't live a healthy lifestyle. I did all the things they told you don't do because your heart will stop. And,
I don't know if you remember you kind of had a philosophy. I don't know if you remember saying this, but you used to say, I want to live my life my way. And if it takes a couple of years off the end of my life, who cares? I don't think he thought, I think he was still picturing 80, 90, not next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that day was business as usual,
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't, like I said, I have some of the physical left over, like, what's that? Or what if I get sick? Is that going to affect me? Just some things like that. But past that, I just consider myself super fortunate. And like when they told me about the odds and told me about, how none of it should have went down like it did. I'm this weird exception. Just thankful. There were EMTs, paramedics, surgeons, nurses. There was a gang of people. I've made trips up to the ICU to try to thank everybody, and I can't find everybody. And I'd be at the grocery store. I remember a girl stopped with a cart and just, looked at me like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I work at the hospital. You weren't supposed to make it. And I'm like, what? I'm buying honeycomb right now.
The shit that he told him he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Why are you smoking in the grocery store?
Better give me my cinnamon toast crunch. I'm ready. But just weird things like that, and it's the hardest part's just trying to get it past me and just getting on with those things that I know I need to get on with, and a lot of that has to do with. It all sounds cliche, but it really is the love, compassion, forgiveness, true giving, true good spirited being a human. That's the.
Well, but this show's for tattoo artists, so we don't fuck with that shit.
No more apprentices.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That's so good, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing all that.
Not a problem at all. It's wasn't that long ago, so it's still a little fresh.
Well, because Josh laid down a brief timeline, because then he said then COVID hit. So how long have you been all clear?
April.
Okay, so it is recent.
Yeah, April. I spent the better part of a year and a half just trying to find answers and not knowing. I mean, if you look I've made the mistake of Googling anything regarding with it. It just the grave. That's what you end up with. And
You just put a picture of the grave.
yeah. That's, but and just not getting answers and that sort of thing. And
So April meaning like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. Fucking, you're sitting here in the studio with us. Jeez. that's
feeling good too.
fucking Awesome.
Feeling great. Yeah. That's
Man.
I'm ready to go on. That's
Wow.
crazy.
You're a total dude. Just kidding.
No, he said he tried to find all the people in the ER and in the hospital, and I appreciate that, because I too go and find like the cops that arrested me, or paramedics that had to revive me, POs that helped save my life, judges that sentenced me to jail time, because it was all needed, and it's like, who knows if. When you said that they were trying to revive you for 40 fucking minutes, like, thank God them motherfuckers didn't give up.
I know, right? Because that was like the only reason he's probably
How do you
here.
keep doing that? And
Yeah.
like that shows passion and dedication. Like, you're a tattoo guardian, Sean. We speak of and say like the tattoo guardians, because it's just people that leave the industry better than they found it. And it's not us in particular, but it is us in particular. And there's also like paramedic guardians, health and well-being guardians, and it's like they didn't give up.
So you have to look at all of the things that happened. So keep in mind, he drove himself to an urgent care, doesn't remember any of that. They said if there was like one car ahead of you before you were able to pull in, he walked in and died, collapsed, you know what I mean? At least had a heart attack.
Yeah, they probably would have, by the time they figured out what was happening.
So everything was perfect. The fact that paramedic that day decided, I'm going to keep doing this, even though 6 minutes is like brain dead, I guess, at times. I'm going to keep going. The fact that Sean is here 2 days, lightning in a bottle. You're a fucking miracle.
It's huge. I mean, it's hard to know what to think about it. It almost seems beyond coincidence. And I don't mean that, a weird way, just kind of like I took it completely as I'm not done. I still have work to do, and that's what that work is. That's up to me to figure it out. But I'm not done yet. Like
But you immediately asked me for the money I owed you. Like right I was like, damn.
What about that 18?
Yeah.
Wallace Honeycombs is stale by now.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Swallowed his last cigarette.
Yeah. I can't even listen to that CD anymore.
No, but I love, because a minute ago when Hip was asking, like, with dealing with that survivor's guilt, and he's like, man, why am I still here when good people aren't? There must be a reason, a purpose, right? And one thing I love hearing from you, other than you drawing the conclusion that obviously I'm not done, because I'm still here, and I was like, shouldn't have been. And as you're discovering why or purposes that you get to be a part of, partake in, I love that you have the heart of whatever it is, I'm meant to learn it. Like you're wide open to, because so many people get hemmed up on what is my purpose? I don't know. And then they'll get frustrated. Like I don't even have existential, versus just the humility of being like, I don't know, but I'm so wide open to learn.
Yeah. Whatever it is. I don't care. I have passions. It's tattooing, art, music, and I can't say that that's even it, but that I just think I'm done. And I think some of the people that I've loved and lost that were good people, I think they were such good people and learned what they learned. I don't know. I don't know what gets somebody out. I don't know what. And then tragedy happens just fine on its own without me manufacturing or dwelling on it.
Right.
And so why not pitch something different, I guess.
Love it, dude. Are you married?
No, but I might as well be. Same rules apply. We live together.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's
Nice.
Stuck by me throughout that entire ordeal. Never left my side.
Does your dick still work after all that? Or?
It's
I heard it was curled in a circle like a.
it's
like
a it's a
pig's tail.
weird color now. Kind of a pomegranate tea.
That's
I'm
Different
I'm
color.
not thinking of these.
I packed
It was,
mine chocolate brown with a 45 bag.
it was out for 50 minutes.
Pendulum motion.
just tickling gently.
That stroke length though.
Yeah, second session, second pass. Got it saturated. For sure.
Dermalize just
I had to do it 2 days on mine.
Yeah.
Man. Well, that's cool. She must be awesome if Josh says she's awesome.
She is. She wanted to come here today really bad. I had contacted Hip about. Actually, I was looking through your Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? I haven't seen him for a while, and I haven't seen Hip for a while." And I was like, "They're just like in Dayton. Like we should go." And Laura's learning how to tattoo now, and
Awesome.
she follows the shop religiously, and I can't remember by name which one she's talking about there, but there is an apprentice there that she is absolutely, that's her bar. That's where she's trying to, and
Yeah, she is. I was like, why do they call him an apprentice when he's amazing?
yeah, she's like, he's not an apprentice, I am. Like,
Wow.
and so
Would you know his name if I said it?
I'm pretty sure I know who it
it's
is.
possible.
I mean, is it Ross? Because he's an anomaly. He's the one that paints
That's-
those
I don't,
paintings.
I think it's Zach.
Oh.
Is there- yeah, I think.
I
Right?
can't remember. I'll find out. I'll find out
Well,
for sure.
Zach's not an apprentice though, so it's not Zach.
Whoever it is
maybe
is
it
an apprentice,
Ross,
but
yeah.
she's just like, he shouldn't be.
Maybe you're lying.
Yeah, it's.
I
I don't have a girl,
bro.
I have a
it's,
girlfriend. I sleep in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Zach's not an apprentice actually. so
Correct.
yeah.
But that's a compliment to say one of our apprentices shouldn't even be labeled that anymore. To me, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we want them to be upon graduating.
And
Right.
as she's reaching and in her very, very early stages, struggling and still trying to power through it, one of the things I loved is I was like, we should. I kind of was like, we should go over and say hi to him.
Yeah.
And she was like, we should go over there, say hi, and watch them tattoo, and pick up some stuff that I don't pick up at my normal home base or that I don't get to see very often because COVID kept us in the house for a year and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, cool. And I reached out to Hip and was like, hey, and I think I reached out on a Thursday or Friday, and you're like, well, I'm booked Saturday. And I was like, oh shit, I meant like, like maybe in a week or two or something like that. And then Joshua said that he was going to come and do. I was like, well, why don't we just wait till then?
Yeah.
And then at home, it just didn't pan out to where she could come today. So
Gotcha.
we're probably going to come back at some point and just say hi if you guys are okay with that. And I know,
Absolutely.
not only her, but myself would love to see what everybody's got to offer and what everybody's working on. And
Is
how-
she hot?
Yes. I think so.
Well, she can just come and
You've met her a few times. You've met her a few times.
She's a sweetheart.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's,
That's cool. I didn't know she followed us. That's cool.
oh yeah. No, Hip. She's I've pitched you to her. She hasn't met you that I'm aware of, but she's hung out with Hip at several conventions, and he's one of the fun ones. She's you're one of the fun ones. She's searching.
Funny hot.
Funny.
She
hot,
searches
right?
you out when she's there. She's like, I still remember the moment I met both of you too. Like really, really precisely.
Well, we told the story about when I ripped on Matt, and he didn't remember it.
Good.
And you're
'Cause
like-
it was like out of line, like bad. Like,
Yeah, Sean was like, "Damn."
I was like, that's the
Like,
hardest you've
first
ever done.
tattoo. I
So-
think he meant first tattoo of the day or whatever, and I'm like, looks like it.
Yeah.
And Sean, like years later, is like the hardest rip heard around the world. And I brought him the podcast, and he's like, I don't even remember.
Good. I'm glad.
You got jokes.
Yeah. I fucking love it though.
Joshua with Hip, it was I think it was Boise, maybe. I can't remember if it was Boise or Evergreen, but it was like, I put you next to this dude called Hip. You'll love him. He's awesome.
That's awesome.
And so I walked up and I think I said, Joshua said, I love you and you're awesome. And you're like, have a banana or something like that. And I was like, all right.
That definitely happened.
All right. And then you were working on the He-Man who Laura asked if he was going to be here.
Longest tattoo in
But-
the world.
But yeah, she's like, is he going to be there? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure who's going to be there, but
No, bro. Oh, bro.
but I had fun that one. And you were Sturbridge, Massachusetts, the
Yeah.
small convention. I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember the only other person in the industry with a beard,
Back
a
then.
comparable beard,
Yeah.
and just having this like kind of
Mm-hmm.
mutual respect. And then Joshua brought me over. I don't know if it was when you had said that or whatever, but
Yeah, I think we were just
I
walking.
can't
around.
remember that or whatever.
Yeah.
But formally introduced you and then made it a point to say hi to you every time I saw you. after
Yeah,
that,
brother.
so,
Which I always appreciated.
yes,
I didn't know till this show tonight, sitting down. I knew when he was out in Evergreen and a bunch of guys lined up for him to do like a stick figure tattoo in honor.
Boise.
Or in Boise, okay.
that
I
made me
just didn't-
cry at a tattoo.
I didn't know it
convention,
was
but-
of you,
Yeah.
but that makes sense. I just remember thinking, who's this fucking cool dude that all these dudes love so much that they're all getting? You know, and gee,
that
that's
might have been what
awesome.
killed me.
Man. Well, and that happened before your
Yeah.
recent accident,
Yeah.
which just speaks to who you are in their lives, not because of like you
They
almost
just
died.
felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, Sean
right.
almost died. Better get a tattoo of him.
I got to say though that everybody involved with that was super fun folks. Like, and
Oh, yeah.
that's what I tend to gravitate to. I want to have fun. I don't want to.
Like Jay and Kronk, they're great, ditto. And then fucking Jeremiah's goofy ass. So for our listeners, what it was they wanted a silhouette of Sean, and it says Dallas Salad Bar. So can you explain to our viewers what the proper way to
about to make the
initiate?
entire audience go, "Oh, that's dumb." Yeah, basically, we were referring to, like the Urban Dictionary or whatever has names for these sex moves,
The
like
rusty
snowmobile
trombone.
and all this kind of stuff. Well, I decided one day I was going to make up my own
Detroit steamer.
Yeah. So without an actual move, I just started naming them, and Dallas Salad Bar was one of them. I found it a lot better to just imagine what that could be as opposed to assigning it to a specific
Right.
move or whatever. And most people were put off by it, and I enjoyed that a great deal.
And then Jeremiah got
Dallas Buyers Club with a dick
With a
on the
penis
sunglasses.
And funny story about that. He put me on the phone with his wife and had me explain to her why he got that tattoo.
man.
Because you're a rube? Like, I don't know why you got that tattoo. Like, the hell is wrong with you?
He got straight up busted. He got in trouble.
Yeah. It's like, you got my face and a dick on you
Uh-huh.
in an AIDS joke. All in one. If I was your wife, I'd be mad too. Like, God's,
Super well thought out, Jeremiah.
don't you drag me into this.
And if you remember where I put it out on Jay, when he lifts his arm up, you're screaming.
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
Yes. Oh,
Which
that
was complete accident.
Yes.
That was a happy accident.
complete surprise too. I was judging on a day, judging
Yeah, he had
for
no
the
idea.
tattoo contest, and I couldn't. Sitting back there, it's hard to hear the speaker, so I didn't really hear what Kronk was saying. And he just turned around and was like, "Bam!" And he's got this tattoo of me on him. I was like, "What? What the hell?" Then Jay broke his out, and I started thinking that this might have caught on at the convention or somebody. After 4 people, I'm like, "Oh,
It's the
shit,
hot new
let's-
style.
Yes. Tribal's out, Sean's in. I don't know, but that was awesome. So
Sean-
thank you for
Sean is
playing
in.
with that. That was
Yeah.
for as silly and as goofy as that was. That's
Those
really
are the memories.
That's what I
man.
live for. Yes, that's the. Oh man, it don't get better than that. Like that's amazing to me. That's that people are willing to go to that length for comedy and just overall, we're having a good time here.
Yeah.
No one died. No one got hurt. It was that. Those are the things I live for right there.
Nice.
I absolutely love it.
Fuck
Absolutely.
yeah. I did not know he was the dude. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. The dude. It's
Love it.
the Dallas Salad Bar.
So you were trained by Josh or taught by Josh?
I was,
The
yes.
tattooer.
Yes.
Around 12 years ago.
Yep.
Awesome. Jeez. How does it feel to be trained by one of the world's best and then your shit just suck in comparison?
Exactly how that sounded. Like, it feels just like that. Like, it's, it was a weird one. I'll backtrack a little bit and just give a bit of the story of how it all came together. Back in the day, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, something like that, I played music all my life. And I was in this like death metal band. Shout out to Legion there. It's good dudes. A couple of our friends just picked up tattooing, and it was out of a bedroom in Muncie. Tattooing was illegal at the time. You couldn't have a shop, couldn't do anything like that. But I'm like 17 or 18. I'm like, sweet, dudes I know will trade pot for tattoos. I'm in. So I started getting heavy hitters. Goofy stuff like that, but they sucked real bad. They since kept on and got better and moved on to shops and things like that, but at the time they were just figuring it out. And so I got these junk tattoos on me, but I still kind of love them weirdly. But like it was a moment in time, and I have a great moment in time, but I always wanted to learn. But I just, even then, could tell that I had nothing to learn from these dudes, because where they screwed up was that's where I started picking up tattoo magazines, and I was seeing Dan Hazelton and Paul Booth and Guy and all these different people, and was like, holy shit, there's a whole other world of tattooing out here I don't understand. And that's where I saw Joshua for the first time. And immediately, my favorite. I just didn't know tattoos could even look at that. Like, I thought it was Flash Dragons were as good as it got, and that's just what they were. And I see this it's a Moses statue, realistic, this big, and it just blew my mind. Couldn't believe a tattoo could look at that. So like, he became my favorite tattoo artist. So I would pick up magazines and like, oh, killer, I really like that.
Did you know he was in your own state?
No. The last I had read or saw, he was in Atlanta. That was the last time. Or that was I thought he was working out of Atlanta. And so I meet this girl and we start dating. And she's real heavily tattooed. And on her second or third date, she's wearing a dress and she's just got 3 big pieces by Joshua down her leg. And I'm like, holy shit, you got Joshua Carlton working. She was surprised I recognized it. I was like, oh, no, I've been following this. And she's like, he lives 20 minutes from here. What the fuck are you talking about? I was like, he's in Atlanta. And she's like, no, he's in Shelbyville. I'm like, what? Next day on the phone. I need to book some time. I remember she went and got tattooed by, or John was there. John Montgomery was there doing a guest spot. She went and got tattooed by John Montgomery, but she knew Joshua from previous tattoos. And so I went and just sat there the whole time all, it's Joshua. It's a total like fucking fanboy.
Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. Stop staring at me.
I hope he has a heart attack and dies.
Yeah. Yes. I hope he has to take some sort of statin the rest of his life. But
This dude get hit by a garbage truck.
Yeah. So we leave, and I can't wait for my appointment. Got rescheduled, which I didn't understand how that worked, but I was heartbroken. But it ended up getting scheduled again. I remember walking and I had $600 and was like, I don't care what you do. I want to start some kind of sleeve. I don't care. You just do it. And I remember you looking at me funny, like, could you narrow it down a little bit? And I was like, statues, filigree. I didn't know what filigree was called, so I was like, swirly stone flowers or whatever. And he was like, filigree. And I was like, yeah. And so he did this statue of David. He just opened a book and was like, what about this? And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a book or like a painting book or drawing.
It was a photo of the statue. And so getting tattooed, I don't know what it is. We just joked and just kind of hit it off. And
I remember we kind of like mutually had respect for comedy. So like one of the other tattoo artists pulled up on his new bike and it had flames on it. And I'm like, man, I like your bike. And he's like, thanks. And I'm like, do you paint those flames on yourself? And he's like, yeah. But I'm like, bet it makes you go faster. And Sean just starts dying. And we just immediately were like,
Yeah. It's like ruining people's day.
The guy was like 45 years old and riding a bike with flames on it. I love you, Jack Morris.
Best Cleveland impression though ever from the Cleveland show. But yeah, I start getting tattooed, and I'm still broke. I remember I didn't even know how it worked. I was like, I have $600, and I'd like to tip you. I wasn't even aware that it's like I own the place. I do what I want. I'm just like, I don't care. This is all I got.
Yeah.
Whatever I can get, don't care. So I got tattooed a few times, and then she started coming around and cleaning up the shop on Sundays or something like that. So I just kept coming around more, and then you did a tattoo on me, and she said that you told her if I took care of it,
That's right.
you'd hire me or something. And so that's when the machine thing came in, and I was like, oh hell yeah.
So you were already like fabricating?
No, God, no. I worked at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Like
He's saying that's when it happened.
Yeah,
after he got tattooed.
Yeah, he asked her, he's like, do you think Sean would be willing to learn about this and help me?
Yeah, I had to teach him.
You know,
we were
because
doing sand casting and bronze sand casting.
Oh yeah, it was scary stuff, but
2,000 degree fire.
Yeah. So the machine thing started, and I'd never used a mill, I'd never welded, I've never done anything like that. Just learned them top to bottom. Thought I did all right. After a while, I got to
all this took place. I used to own a funeral home, and and it was all took place in the
embalming room and garage, like the hearse garage.
So fucking brutal.
Right.
Yeah. It still had like the formaldehyde bladders and body shower in it and all that kind of stuff. It was
But yeah, he would ask me all the time to teach him, and I had decided I was done teaching anybody. I wasn't going to teach anybody else, and he just kept on. He would pin drawings to my like door, or like he said, I put them on a balloon. He would always show up
like
with the
floated
drawing
at face level, so when he woke up, there was just
and they got better and better. The drawings got better and better and better.
Well, I would listen to him when I'd be at the shop. I'd listen to him tell one of he had like 5 artists there, or something like that. Anytime he said something like, no, you want to shade, the difference between a soft edge and I'm going to fill a sketchbook up with soft edge or whatever.
When nobody else in the shop was actually doing this and he was listening, I caught on to that, you know what I mean? So I was like, maybe this guy's serious,
I wanted to learn realism bad in any capacity, and started with charcoal. I think it was.
And he does extremely impressive charcoal.
Yeah, he does.
And that was, and I kept asking and didn't really understand even how it worked. Like I figured like, well, we're friends. Why wouldn't you? I would.
And ultimately it was music that made it happen, because I went to see your band play, and I was like, what's that like to be up on stage in front of people, play guitar, and people came to see you? And he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll get you up on stage if you teach me how to tattoo. And I was just like, done. And we ended up being in a band together called Chiaroscuro. That was pretty successful. Like we did huge tours, and so as most of you know, I'm a musician today, and this is the man. I dicked around with guitar in high school and stuff, but Sean's the one that was like, stop it. Here's how you really play guitar.
Stop it.
Enough smoke on the water, bro.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stop doing that. Yeah.
And the funny thing is Sean is one of the best guitarists I've ever known, but we needed a drummer, so we all just tried out for the drums, and like he was the one that wasn't as bad.
The least.
So this great guitarist had me play guitar, which I was really new, but he played the drums. And
the first tour I played drums, keyboard, and guitar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But we got lucky and met the right people, and we toured with this band called This Will Destroy You, this band called Caspian. Like, these are pretty good-sized bands for the genre, the post-rock music we were into. And then he ended up joining this patch of sky that I was in for 7 years. He ended up playing bass for us for a few years. So we've seen it all, man. We've got books to write
in every aspect. It's crazy. I've seen his kids grow up. Like from infant to what's Penelope, 17 now?
17.
Like just I don't know. It just locked in pals, and I mean, this, not to get too sappy or whatever, because of course I love his tattooing, whatever. I don't give a shit if he quit today. It wouldn't be a bit different than, you know, I'm not friends with Joshua because of that. You know, that was a lot to do with what we did, but as a dude, he's the best. Like it just, I've never had anybody, you know, short of my mom, you know, like give as much, share as much, and just be a friend, whether we were 3,000 miles apart, 10 minutes apart, or whatever. It's just never, I've never experienced that level of like true friendship, and it's just, man.
Do you remember? So it was kind of apparent that we were closer than with other people at the shop. So like, I never like yelled at Sean or got on him because Sean got it. He didn't really need it. And then I took Sean out front one time, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking pretend I'm yelling at you. I'm not really mad at you. We're totally going to get lunch later, but I need you to think I'm yelling at you right now because they're watching right now. Yeah.
Come on.
I thought that shit was pretty funny.
I want a burger.
Yeah.
Did it work?
It worked.
Yeah, good.
They were like, get him.
Oh, yeah. And some of the dudes hated me, like just hated me because we were friends or something.
Like jealousy or?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like he didn't just get an apprenticeship. Like I took him around the world with me. It's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to tattoo, but I'm also going to take you to Paul Booth's. I'm going to take you to, I mean,
Hope Gallery.
You know, when I went and did a guest spot at Joe Capobianco's, like he was there. In fact, we did a podcast with Joe.
Got to paint.
Yeah, so he got to experience like so much more than just me. You know what I mean? So, but I knew that Sean respected tattooing so much and would do anything for it, leaving it better than he found it, you know? And I knew that the artist he's become, I knew that was coming. You know what I mean? So, you know, Sean lives and breathes art, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't trade any of those experiences for anything. My big regret about it is I feel I should be a lot better than I am, having been gifted all of these great experiences.
But that's why you're such a great artist, because you are not happy with where you're at.
And that one thing, I have all these like Joshua-isms in my head that just, for whatever reason, the first time I was told, and it was, one of them was you know, a good artist knows exactly how good and how bad he is. And that one stuck. Like, so it's, you know, I have no false sense of I'm better than so-and-so and I'm doing this. None at all.
Yeah, you know, people around the shop will start telling you how great you are. It's real easy to believe it. You go to a convention and you're like, oh, I'm not so great anymore because I'm not in my shop. You know? Yeah, because I'd be like, so back in the day, there was a website called Ink Nation, and they would tear your ass up on the critique pages. There's particularly one guy that would just shred you. And he'd be like, I'm pretty proud of this one. And I'm like, why don't you throw it up on Ink Nation and see what happens? You know?
I'd scurry back under
you
the couch.
You about to get real? You want to get real? Yeah.
And was it pretty accurate? They were just tough, true?
Sometimes
they were just dicks.
You know what I mean? There were some real dicks.
I was always really truthful with Sean. You know what I mean? Sean, you know, Sean went through a phase where he was doing backgrounds that I just thought were just not conducive to the piece. You know what I mean? And I knew
caught
it wasn't
a
going to
comment on one of my tattoos that I posted that background makes me want to fly to Indiana and punch Sean in the face. Forever on the internet.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah. So a mild
Josh
critique.
but Josh is so nice.
I call that a soft critique. But I do appreciate it. I never got the feeling that Joshua ever came from anywhere besides bettering me or course correcting me when I had the wrong idea.
I punch you because I love you.
This is going to hurt me worse than it should. But I got to say, I've never had bad info. I've had info that's changed technique to technique. As he evolves, he's the first one. Sean, I've evolved. I'm like, what? It's like,
when it's like you today, Matt, you know,
I
you
shade
were like,
upside down now. I'm like, okay.
you had assumed that I tattooed a certain way, and it's highly likely that I did at one point tattoo that way.
Yeah.
But
like a couple weeks
ago. I'm always trying to change myself for the better. And unfortunately and fortunately, sometimes it goes great. And sometimes it's like, hey, like I was joking about, I'm like, tattooing is a lesson. And today I learned not to do that. You know what I mean? So,
well, I love that because after so long, because some people, you know, find their groove, their niche, and then run the rest of their career. This is how I run. This is how
I just can't do that. It's
Man.
not satisfying.
It's
I gotta do it.
mind-blowing how much
Yeah.
you don't do that.
Yeah.
Now we can, kind of like I mentioned earlier, every season you were in, every new technique, trick, tool you've added to your arsenal. So it seems like you do show up with a much larger arsenal,
And
but you're not tied to one.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what clicked for me finally. You know, like I picked up the pendulum shading and I'm like, everybody do the pendulum, like it's a new dance. And then I'm like, well, sometimes the pendulum's not the right thing. And so I have this, 30-year pendulum dance.
Can you show us that dance?
So I was happy today to like, hey, I've been doing this motion on hips tattoo, but this particular part of the cheekbone needs this technique that I learned 9 years ago. I'm going to bring it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's for me been a game changer, because one of my least favorite things is when you, and this is totally anecdotal to me, but I don't like it when you hold your tattoo machine a certain way and you only do a certain thing, so you can't get out of that box. No matter what you do, even if you like... Right? Even if you like look at let's say it's a portrait and you nail it, but it still looks the same because you're only doing soft edges, or you're only doing, a black ring around the background or whatever it is. And, that's why kind of saying it ad nauseum, but all day today, I kept on saying the word more natural. I think it makes it look more natural. You know what I mean? That's my big thing today.
And I appreciate that because, when I first started working with Matt, it's like fucking 27 mag everything. And I did that. And even the way he would go through pieces, I was like emulating him. Then I found out who the fuck Yogi Barrett is. And I'm like, this shit's photoshopped. It's not real. Did everything under my power to be able to take lessons and learn. Then I'm like, the only thing you can use is an 11 mag, a fucking 11 bold liner, and a 5 round liner. That's all you need. And I did that
because that's all Yogi did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that for so long, and then I start seeing like these dudes over in Europe knocking out fucking whole thigh pieces in like 3 hours, and I'm like, what the fuck? So like I'm taking like what I've learned from Matt and what I've learned from Yogi, and like I can kind of bring it in and out. And like when I sent you that first picture of my stepdad, and you sent back a painting, I thought that like you just painted it, and you're like, nah, I did it on Procreate. And I'm like, duh, because you can do that on Procreate. So since then I've been like trying to find a rhythm in that, and what I'm learning is like the precision and the fucking goggles that I've learned to wear with working with Yogi, and just the precision, and then the looseness from you and with Matt, because Matt always told me, he says, if you do a portrait, fuck the ears, fuck the hair, nail the eyes, nose, and mouth. And Josh, you've always said like, fuck detail, contrast wins every time. And you said something today, I've heard you say it before, and it's basically, what's the tattoo look like fucking years and years down the road? Is it still dope as shit and you can see it from across the street? Because that's what I care about. Like, all tattoos, if done fairly good, look great when they're fresh.
Exactly.
But I want to see that shit fucking 5-10 years down the road. I've only been tattooing for 8 years.
I compare it to music. I don't give a shit what your CD sounds like.
That's what you said.
What do you fucking sound like live? And I'm speaking from my own experience. I have no problem talking about the shitty tattoos I did in the past. When I was like, I wonder what happens if I do this. Oh, that's fucking terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I went through those phases. So like, people think I'm joking when I say learn from my mistakes, but I made a lot. And I will continue to make more. You know what I mean? So one of the things I love about you, Hip, is your honesty, and we can be honest about ourselves and our own work. And it's like that's hard for a lot of people to swallow. It took me a while. I'd be honest with my wife, but it's hard publicly to be like, oh yeah, I know I could have done this better. You know what I mean? But that's how you fucking grow.
Fuck yeah! If we weren't honest with each other, we're just doing each other a disservice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. If you went in and we were just like, looks dope, Hip, every time, would Hip be the artist he is today? Right. No, you don't say it in front of the client, right? But I take you on a porch talk and be like, porch talk. That thing you're doing that you think is cool, it ain't. Stop, yeah.
Sean, stop putting cod pieces on all your work.
Him and I both will just drop it like right.
I'm always down for that critique. Sometimes they sting too.
Yeah. They sting, man.
Always down
they
for
do sting, but you need it.
I'm in reinventing the tattoo group, and like
watching some videos, and like Guy Atchinson's always talking about like yellow pig or orange pigment sucks. It always fucking falls out. He's never had luck with it. And I don't know, maybe it's my arrogance, but I'm like, well, maybe I just saturate better than Guy does. So I'll make it fucking stay. So it's like, I've got to fucking at least attempt it, because, he's got pieces out there damn near as old as I am.
Right.
So he totally fucking knows. But still, I'm like, well, it's 2021, it's 2020. Like, I think, fucking our fucking machines don't need cords, so yeah, this orange should stay. So I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. And I apologize ahead of time, Guy. You were right.
I used
maybe not.
I used to have so much orange in here. It's literally 100% gone. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think about all the orange because we use orange for flesh tones too.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, they make up a lot.
And see, so okay, then what if I make orange with red and yellow?
right. Is that the same thing or is it the pigment? Exactly.
Or I wonder about all the color realism portraits you and I did before they came out with the flesh tone sets, where we
Right.
mixed our own, which was brown, orange, purple, and white.
Right.
Right.
And that's the
Wonder how
other
they
thing
look.
too. Like, back in the day when Nate Beavers tattooed you, his base was purple.
That's right.
And that's a secret for you guys out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, those four colors. It was purple, brown, orange, and white would make flesh tone. You can control the values with white. So we'd have multiple caps set out.
Yeah.
But yeah, purple, touch it into your brown, warm it up with some orange, dip it in your white. That's going to be mid or light, however long you hold it in the white. But
speaking of Nate Beavers, man, he was so ahead of the game.
he was.
I love that guy.
Me too,
Yeah.
man. Sweetheart, real sweet spirit too. Man, a few words anytime I've hung out with him.
Yeah.
Now he'll open up,
Mhm.
but even like when he tattooed me at that show, and of course, I'm getting tattooed by Nate. Do funny stories from there. So he tattooed my thigh. This was back when he was probably at his heaviest, because I know
Right.
after that he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But he's doing a portrait of my grandma on my thigh, and just where he had his massage table, so my foot where it landed straight in his crotch, right? And he literally, and I hate feet, and I didn't even want to take my shoes off. You know what I'm saying? He
Matt hates
basically made me take my shoe off. Now I keep it clean, but still, I just don't want,
I understand.
This dude grabs my foot, lifts his ball sack, and just rests him on my ankle.
Oh my God.
You know, all day I can just feel my foot nestled in his warmth.
It's all warm.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Nate.
I'm like, well, I'm already processing my head like, well, it's Nate Beavers. I'm getting tattooed, but shit.
Matt just pulls out a gun. He's just like, well, it's been fun.
I hope his tattoo turns out good.
But even getting tattooed by him, like me, because I was trying to talk and learn, and he was like so in the zone, I picked up real quick, like, hey, I ain't trying to talk right now. He didn't say that. I could just pick up. So then I just went to watching and trying to understand. Of course, this was 10 years ago, too. But it was awesome. He did a great job. That
My
tattoo, one
understanding,
tattoo
you
of the day.
can't put your balls on clients anymore.
It's definitely frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to.
I've been hearing things.
You might want to change the name of your new shop.
Well, anyone that ever brags about how they know Nate Beavers, I can be like, you don't know him like my
You
ankle
don't know.
does.
We were intimate. Yeah.
That's right.
You ever had a hot pocket?
Or a Dallas salad bar.
Yeah. Hey, there it is.
Well, the athlete's foot cleared up. So.
Yeah. The athlete's foot cleared up, and Nate's still walking around scratching. Man, it just won't go away. It's got dreadlocks.
At one point, he called me because I guess when he got married, because he's out in Texas, but he married a woman from Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, she's from Dayton.
Yeah, and there was talk at one point of them wanting to move back here to be close to her family. He actually called me for a job. This was back when I was rolling Brenner, and we were stoked that Nate Beavers was about to join the team, and then last minute they changed their mind, but that was cool. And I've always
It's cool to get the
So he was about to join the team, and then he remembered the ball story. He's like,
That's how you'll get jealous.
That's right.
That's
foot's
cool.
hot.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, I've always wondered if that day will still come that they want to move back here.
Yeah, yeah.
And We'll see.
Well, now you got an amazing shop, and
Oh, thank you, brother.
yeah. So I wanted,
place is great.
Yeah, I
It
wanted to,
really is.
I just kind of put it on social media. But thank you so much for having me out, and
Yeah.
it's cool. Like we were talking when we first walked in, it's like you get this like predetermined what something looks like. Podcast was the same way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just assumed your shop was one certain way, and I walked in, and I'm like, this ain't aisle 9.
Right.
But it's a beautiful shop. It's like
thank
it's so
you.
cool because it's super busy, by the way, too. Like this is all day long. You guys are doing something right, But it's like, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, look over here, it's beautiful. And then you go upstairs and there's like a whole nother shop.
You
And then
know?
And it's like I love the light. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's you got so much light, and Hip was telling me before, and I think this was so awesome about on the same level.
Yes.
And I just appreciate that so much. It's so cool.
Getting us all on the same level.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when there's physical barriers,
Yeah.
because when we're in person in a conversation, even with the client in consultation, there's invisible walls.
Yeah.
That it's our job, even as a front man on stage, it's our job, that invisible wall between you and the audience, to be taken down by you in the first 3 seconds, if possible, So we already have like obstructions or walls we're trying to bring down and make
you have
someone
these
feel
actual
comfortable.
physical.
When it's physical,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like we have 2 shops. There's downstairs and the upstairs, and even keeping culture the same. And that's when I shared with him, because when we're looking at expanding a new shop, that we need one big wide open floor plan to keep everyone together, more than physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and the culture can be cultivated and kept easier at one spot in one room versus like 2 different rooms. And it is different, isn't it?
My shop back, or the shop that I work at back home, Black Florida Alliance, is open concept like that.
Yeah.
I gotta say that when everybody's yucking it up, and you hear machines firing off in all directions, and it's
I miss that.
nothing quite like it.
I
It's
miss that,
it's a makes for a great Friday.
Yeah, I
or
love my
whatever.
studio, and it's like, me and the client, and I can hear Nikki kind of puttering around doing her makeup and stuff because she does cosmetic tattooing. But I do miss the banter. Even like I don't want drama, but that little bit of drama.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah, just a little poke.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
bear.
you know
We
what I mean?
love having rec sessions, don't
yeah, you know what I mean. So like at some point, my goal is to have something like that back.
we? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
somebody
that's what I
needs
want
to
my
walk
legacy.
by and
Yeah.
say, I mean, that's not how I do it, but
Right.
you gotta have
Here's
that.
my
It's-
card, and I'll finish that one at heels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to?
I'll say to my clients.
You want me to finish that tattoo for you?
That's right. Yeah. Jeez.
Because I could do it.
That's right.
Who would
Jeez.
Who would ever say that?
No kid. I know it. Yeah, we love the camaraderie and the rec sessions because before we opened Aisle 9, I had a private studio, and when I left Brenner with a shop, there was like 12 of us at 1.16. Then I went to my own. I missed a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just having brothers next to you, not only the rec sessions and having fun, talking shit, but even artists to like bounce things off. Hey, what do you think of my light source here, or what? Even that we got to converse today while you were tattooing.
Yeah, like for me, that
It's
was
fun.
great. Just to I haven't had that in so long. You know what I mean? Just listening to some music or a podcast, and I converse the whole time. Not only did it make the time go by much smoother for me, you know what I mean? But as you share your experience, you learn things. Like, so a few times you heard me go, oh yeah, I guess that is why I do that. I'm just so on autopilot.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you're like, well, hey, I noticed you do this with your needles, and I'm like, yeah, I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I favor one side or this or that. So yeah.
It's nuts. It's awesome. Just more reason why well, none of us were designed to be an island. We all need each other.
Right.
I
To some
suffer
degree.
when an island. My output suffers. My work suffers. My desire to be there. So I'm easily distracted, and
Man,
so I enjoy working with.
I miss like me, you, and Zach just downstairs tattooing all night long and shit. And because I tattoo in the bottom, and Joey Brenner, he tattoos Monday through Friday. I start tattooing Thursday to Sunday, so I'm only with him 2 days, and then my other coworker Josh, he pretty much runs my same schedule, but it's like here lately we just haven't been tattooing as much together.
So it's usually me down there. And, someone from upstairs comes down, so I fucking instantly aim my fucking bullseyes at them and fucking knock off a couple funnies before they go back up to church. And I'm there again by myself, and I find myself like just wanting to like stop tattooing a little sooner, and it's just like, man, it's just me and my client, which by no means am I not, I engage with my client, I have fun with them. But there's just something about knowing like your homies are around you and you're all just tattooing and yucking it up, and
you can feel work getting done. Like it's getting done around you,
man,
in front
For the
of you.
most part, like we all love it. We love rec sessions, no matter at whose expense. I mean, I love a good joke at my expense.
Oh, right.
You know what
Me
I'm
too.
saying?
Nothing
It's
better.
fucking great. But Zach, it took a couple years because Zach was the guy that was like
Couple
offended
years, yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
It did, and they
That's
all called
kind
me,
of fun too sometimes.
Wow, for this guy,
It's a little
you know what I'm
fun
saying?
too.
He fucking loved it, and we go overboard to where now Zach's pissed for the night. They all
Yes.
call me dad.
But Zach's like, he's like my wife, right? I'll make a funny comment and he goes straight for the throat.
Yeah.
Then I'm in my head for fucking weeks like, this motherfucker.
He got real.
Yeah.
That's-
I mean, it got to the point. I mean, I would have to like have porch talks with them every other night, and it got to the point where I was gonna have to split them up,
Damn.
ship one upstairs, and finally,
Like my kids in the back of the car. I
Totally.
will turn this car around.
Totally.
Turn this tattoo shop
And
around.
dude, that was for about 2 years.
Damn.
And Zach grew to where he could actually have fun because boy, he'd dish it out, wouldn't he? But someone just served him a little back, and he's like butt hurt and fucking going straight for your nuts, and we're all
Damn.
just like, damn, that escalated quick, But
But it's cool because now it's like I can't if he shows up in the day, I can't even like have a serious conversation without him firing at me. And I'm like, okay, that was a long day.
Yeah, because you could mutilate Hip and I, and we'll cry laughing with you.
I've
destroyed.
It's my
Sean.
favorite
Yeah,
thing.
Sean. Is,
I'm going to be honest. It's my favorite thing.
there's things that Sean has said that people were just like, man, talk about getting canceled. Just said to me, you know what I mean, like about my funeral. You know what I mean, like.
That's awesome, dude.
I like Sean saying is bury me with my stuff because you know it's mine.
I think I said you were going to have gravy on your casket pillow.
Yeah.
Why is that?
On the account of the gluttony he used. It was ruthless.
Oh
It
yeah,
was ruthless.
there's
wasn't
no
a-
holds barred. It's none at all.
It was
But he got my
ruthless.
wife in on it too. Like, she was always kind of quiet and everything, and she's just fucking drops him. Like she's brutal. She will eviscerate you.
She can
Yeah.
fight too, like legit fight. So
She's a black belt, yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Legit black belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikki will whip some ass.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of wise, early on, Hip would get my wife before she realized it's time to have a rec session. Just in passing, he'd say something to my wife. He'd be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I forgot to tell you, D called," and she'd be like, "Who?" He'd be like, "D." And she's like, "D who?" And he'd be like, "D's nuts." You know what I'm saying?
My 12-year-old does
Just like
that.
little things my wife. And so one day she decided she gonna try and get him back. I'm sitting there with her in the car. She's like, "Hey, Hip," and he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, D called, and he's like, "What?" And she's like, "This penis." I'm like,
Oh my god, that's the
no,
sweetest thing ever.
It's like
This
It's
penis.
not quite right, but okay.
But it's also kind
It's
of
time
perfect.
for a coaching session. Right?
Right.
Porch
It was
talk. Where,
perfect.
yeah, it's
Yeah, Matt's like, I have a brilliant idea to make money. Coaching.
roast coaching. I
Oh.
might
Roaching.
be into that.
Roaching,
I
yeah.
might be into that.
Stint Eastwood. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
Sean and I always play the name
The
game.
name game's
I heard
good.
you guys saying fucking some Volta something.
Well, he was in a legit argument with his girlfriend. Like, she was super pissed, talking shit, walking away from him, and Sean fires off.
I see how you are talking shit and walking a Waylon Jennings. That was-
And it's like stunted her to the point that like
It ended
kinda,
the argument.
It kind of
Like
ended the
I-
argument. It was like, that was so good. I'm not even mad anymore.
and then throwing out a Hannibal lecture at one point
Yeah.
was big lecture.
So you're big on puns and names?
Yes, it's
Mainly the name game.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't
It's
it
truly
doesn't
the
stop. It's been
sport of
years in the
kings.
making.
Well, yeah, they said something earlier.
That you guys were real fortunate.
Yeah. You knew what this was.
Yeah.
It was like, what John Travolta are you running or some shit?
Yeah,
Oh,
we were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Volt.
Both, yeah.
I think Voltron was thrown out there. There was a lot.
It's
Well,
dumb.
see, none of that's funny.
Oh, it's
No, but when you go with it on the spot, it is an art.
oh,
Sure.
yeah. It's absolutely
Love it.
one of my favorite games to play. I got everybody at the shop playing it too. It's pretty good. It's,
You'll get in on it.
That's great.
oh yeah.
Man. See, I've never had that gift, which is why I surround myself with brothers like you with the gift.
It's an easy game to play, but difficult to master. It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's,
Love it, man. Good
Fun
shit. If you weren't a tattooer, what would you be up to?
music.
Yeah.
I'd probably just dive headed first into music. I was said I worked in different retail jobs, like management jobs for a long time, and grew to just hate everything about it and everything about my life with it or whatever. Just threw it all away to go make tattoo machines.
Yeah,
and,
man.
and so I don't know. I think it'd be music if I
Dude,
wasn't tattooing.
From the sounds of things, however you've lived your life at all is rock and roll.
Trying
seems like
Hey,
it.
Peter Pan maybe, or trying
Okay.
that, shooting
Yeah.
for that, like
Yeah, man.
big kid. Yeah,
Love
I
it.
wanna
You
be-
still play guitar every once in a
Yeah,
while?
I play all the time. Yeah,
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah,
Electric only, or do you do acoustic too?
I'm a little more electric.
You said you played for Legion, so I didn't envision acoustic, but
Yeah. Although I own an acoustic, I play electric probably more than anything. I would
Les
say.
Paul.
SG. I
SG.
got rid of my Les, made the decision. I
Yep.
sold one and
Yep.
ended up sticking with the SG.
Is the SG lighter? Them Les Pauls are heavy,
Very,
aren't they?
very
Yeah.
much lighter,
Mhm.
downright neck heavy. It's,
Yeah.
But the difference is a little off topic. Les Paul always sounds like a Les Paul, no matter
Yeah.
what you do.
Okay.
SG, a good template for effects, amps. It's just a nice, fresh canvas for
No.
whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
It's a little more flexible, I guess.
What color do you rock?
Oh, it's black. I don't own
Okay.
anything in my life that's not black. I don't
Okay.
think it's, it would have
Cool.
tattoo ink on it if
Oh, yeah.
visible tattoo ink.
That's awesome. Are you a collector?
Over the years, I have. Right now, I've got an old Stratocaster, an SG. I have a 50s Harmony Hollywood hollow body, and my acoustic's a 73 Fender Concorde. I think that's all I have.
Are you a Mesa Boogie guy, a Marshall guy, or an Orange?
Mesa for sure, but my primary weapon is a 1973 Fender Twin.
Ooh, okay.
I got one of them stupid pedal boards too.
Okay.
Install that on there.
That's awesome. Were you ever a Marshall guy?
Nope, never owned it. Well,
Wow.
I owned a 110 Marshall practicing. At
Okay.
one point.
Sean's a gear snob. Like as I was growing into music, I'd show up with an amp and I'd be like, I bought this amp, and he'd be like, yeah, I had one of those once. Now it's in the bottom of the fucking ocean. It's like just took the wind out of my sails. But he's like, all you need is an SG.
But I was right.
He was right.
I was right.
He's like, all you need is an SG, a Fender, and a volume pedal. You know what I mean? And he was right. He absolutely right. I kind of fought back on all that. You know what I mean? But he was definitely right. You know what I mean? So.
What do you think of the Orange cabinets?
I like it. Yeah. I'm a fan. I don't have enough room for all the things I'd like to have or whatever. But I think with most anything with any quality, you can, depending on what you're doing, you can make a good. I mean, sometimes that ugly tone is the call. So it's.
What's your out of all the pedals, if you can only go to 3, what were your 3 go-to pedals?
Certainly the volume pedal.
Yeah. Delay, or no?
Probably volume. I use a Proco Rat pedal that I do like a lot, but my twin doesn't have any distortion, so it's I'd probably go volume, Rat. I'd probably go reverb, honestly.
Yeah.
I like having the delay, but I think if I had to pick three, I'd go reverb on that one.
Nice.
So.
Love it.
I
What
did
about
the-
you, Hit?
Man, I don't think I'd need three. If I got a good head unit, I used to play Ampeg, so it gave me the distortion I need. So whammy and wah. Yeah, real guitarists uses their volume knob. They don't need a pedal for it.
Whammy.
I remember when I was practicing with my band, this Patches Guy, and one of the guys played the song a little bit differently, and he was using the whammy bar, and I'm like, "What are you doing different?" He's like, "Oh, I'm using the whammy bar," and I'm like, "Could you not?" he quit the band shortly after that.
Remember one practice, there was a, whatever you're doing is pissing me off. Like, I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah. Did you read "Don't"?
Yeah. I certainly appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a blast, and it's been nice. Whole day's been absolutely fantastic. Anyone that didn't know, I got Father's Day flowers.
Yes.
First time I've ever gotten flowers for anything,
Yeah.
Shout out to Megan.
even when I died.
Yeah.
No flowers for that, but for Father's Day,
Man.
I got it. Thank you. A filet mignon,
Yeah.
free T-shirt,
Yeah.
and Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's like Sean's birthday.
Oh man, yeah. Like one of the major ones. Like yeah.
Sean and I've always adopted a good philosophy on birthdays. It's like, what do you want for your birthday? And it's like, I just want to do what I fucking want.
Yep.
Like, I don't
Yep,
need
don't-
gifts. It's just like I might get up and watch TV.
Yep. Don't
I
make me
got
do
that from
stuff.
Sean. Yeah, do what just do what I want. It's like, try that if you haven't tried it.
9 times out of 10, I do next to nothing,
Yeah.
but
Well, maybe
I
that's what
want
you
to
wanted.
do nothing. it's yes, I.
So Sean, if someone wants a tattoo from you, how do they reach out? And what's
Oh.
your IG and webpage?
There are several ways. You can hit me at blackswordalliance.com or artofseanking@gmail.com. Sean is spelled Sean. The Instagram is Sean King Art. So check it out.
That's awesome. In Muncie, Indiana.
Yes.
Awesome.
Is that on a map?
We got Garfield. David Letterman went to college there. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We're more
Keep
popular.
going.
We're more popular than Dayton.
Fucking got the planes.
But they got the Coug.
Yeah.
Coog. Oh,
We had the Walmart meth lab bathroom story that
we
broke
got those
national.
here.
He started him. But once again, man, I'm glad you're here, and I really appreciate you doing this with us.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Good shit, dude. If I die before you, one, will you guys all three be at my funeral? Will you two share and speak at my funeral, and will you just randomly get up and draw a dick and then walk off stage?
Can I project it?
Blood.
Yeah.
Make a blood pack right now.
That's-
And everyone, I want no explanation. They're just like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is it? You know,
Is that
disrespecting Matt
Sean will be
Clever
like, for
that?"
those that know, no.
Is that a dick?
Tattoo Guardians podcast.
That's right.
Is that an 1820s dick?
It's got a little monocle.
Man.
This is how I come, see?
Man, see?
And on that note,
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
it's been a great episode. Thank you for joining us.
See y'all next week.
Try not to die.